Hello there. We're on the road again for vinyl. This time we're heading down to a place that's been in this area for many, many years, 20, 30 years at least. It's a place called Toad Hall, and they're having a sale today, so heading down there to check it out. This is one of those places where, and I'm sure you've been in them before if you're a crate digger, it's kind of a hoarder's paradise. 2 or 3 floors to this place, and not a blank floor space or shelf space anywhere. I mean, there's stuff stacked and filed and crammed and every corner that you could possibly imagine. So we're heading to this thing. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with this place because the previous owners, the people who had owned it for many, many, many years until just recently, they had this pricing scheme that was just completely out of touch with reality. And you know, you would find records that typically would sell anywhere else for $1 or $2, you know, just common kinds of stuff. And you look at the price and they've got $8 on it, $10 on it. Just completely out of touch with reality. And then, you know, if you find more interesting stuff, you know, stuff that normally would sell for $8 or $10, they've got $20. It was just completely out of touch with reality, and because of that, I hardly ever went there. But recently, a few years ago, the place went under new management, and instead of the people that now owned it, instead of trying to go through and reprice thousands and thousands and thousands of records, they simply said that they'll leave the prices the way they are and knock off 30%, which, you know, I mean, that certainly made things a little bit more reasonable. But the problem with that, I suppose, was still that lopping off 30% of ridiculously high prices to begin with just made the prices come down to something slightly more reasonable. Still not a great deal or anything like that. So, you know, as it is, I don't find myself going here that often.
Thanks for putting up with Natalie too, Brady. She's sometimes a pest, isn't she? Yeah. You know what?
What's Natalie, right?
Shining down from the sky, bringing joy to the world I once knew. But to me, it means sorrow today and tomorrow, since the light shining down says we're through.
Well, it was only partially successful. As I mentioned before, their prices are still high, even though they discount it for you. I can't tell you how many records I put back, looking at the price, figuring the discount in my head, and it still wasn't worth it. I don't know whether they're just locked into that kind of thinking and that kind of, you know, pricing scale or what. I don't know. I do a lot more business with me, and I'd stop into that store a lot more often if their prices were a little bit more reasonable. But anyway, it wasn't a total loss. I started hunting around for some records that were some specific records that I was looking for, and I was able to find some. Stumbled across a few others that I wasn't necessarily looking for, but were still much sought after. So it wasn't a total loss, but even there, you know, I ended up paying a pretty penny for what I did get, even after their discount. But I'm going to stop bitching about that, and I'm going to go home and show you the records. Alright, so let me run through the records that I got today. The first is Richard Wright from Pink Floyd. Richard Wright's Wet Dream. Second is this version of the Alan Parsons Project's Tales of Mystery and Imagination. When I say this version, my previous version looked like this. This is the version that I've had for the longest time. Both of them on 20th Century Records, but I think when they reissued it, they started making this cover, and that was the one that I had for the longest time. But I knew that this was the original, and so I wanted to try and find a copy of that. It's kind of cool too. It's got a neat little talks a little bit about the chronology of Edgar Allan Poe, the history of Edgar Allan Poe, and then there's kind of a parchment-covered booklet with some photographs and things like that in there. Not doing the best job of showing this off, I know, but so just a neat little booklet. Definitely wanted to get this one. This one's not only is it a gatefold and it has the little booklet in there. This one just a single disc, not a gatefold or anything. John Martyn, the Scottish guitarist John Martyn, the late Scottish guitarist John Martyn. Grace and Danger, 1980, I think? 1980. Sometimes I get it right. Also by John Martyn, Glorious Fool. This is 1981. Both of these feature Phil Collins on drums. And as a matter of fact, this one is on Duke Records. So, Phil Collins playing a fairly large role in John Martyn's career at that point. I really love John Martyn. I love most of what he's done in his career. It's kind of sad that he's no longer with us, but XTC Waxworks. This is the British version that also has beeswax on one side, one album. So the singles 1977 to 1982 on the Waxworks side, and then on the Waxworks album, and then on the other album, the other disc would be beeswax. I don't know why I'm feeling very uncoordinated today with showing this off. This is a really nice pressing, really clean. So many of the things I pick up at that store are pretty well beat up, so I almost felt like I was rescuing this one. Art of Noise. I am a huge Art of Noise fan. This is the British version of their first album, I think, called Who's Afraid of Art of Noise. The US version sort of took on that insignia on the cover. Actually, I think there were two masks, comedy and tragedy on the front cover of the US version, but this is the British version. Huge Art of Noise fan. These guys, they played around with sampling and incorporated sampling into music in such a way that it just was a seamless kind of thing, and they really made an art of it. No pun intended on the band name there, Art of Noise. But I will pick up anything that I can absolutely find by Art of Noise. As you can tell, 12-inch single for Paranoia. I don't know if anybody remembers this song from the 80s, but this is Max Headroom on there, and played a part in that song in the video as well. So, I don't know if you can see it or not, but right about there on my wall is the album from which Paranoia came, and also Peter Gunn, another 12-inch single there from Art of Noise. This one featuring Dwayne Eddy, the guitarist Dwayne Eddy, and both of those songs, like I said, came from that album right there. Getting near the end here, Concrete Blonde. I love Concrete Blonde, and yet I hardly ever see their albums in record bins anywhere. I don't know if there's any kind of reissue campaign in the planning stages, but they are really hard to find record albums by this band. So this is the album called Free, and I'm just really thrilled to find a copy of that. And then probably what made the whole trip worthwhile is a record that I have been searching for and searching for and searching for. I owned it back in the day, and for one reason or another got rid of it, sold it, whatever. It's a stupid move. I have since picked up not only the regular CD version of it, but there's now a deluxe CD version, a deluxe remastered CD version of this out. But I've really, really wanted to find it on vinyl, the original copy again. One of my favorite albums from the 80s, and that is Sisters of Mercy, Floodland. I really, really love this album. I was really thrilled to find it there and put it back in the collection. So, anyway, that was the deal. That was the road trip. Spent a little bit more money than I wanted to, but you've heard about that already, so I won't go on and on about it. Too late. All right, so yes, take it easy. See you later.